Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm very happy to be here together with you all as we organize our first Investor Day. We're very happy for this major event. I'm going to be talking to you about the corrugated cardboard market. So in the past 15 years, we had a significant growth in our market share. And I want to remind you that in 2005, we had 2.42% share. And in 2020, we were able to reach 4.07. So this was a growth of 68.7%. And I think a big movement that took place in this period was the inauguration of our production plant at the Indaiatuba unit in 2008, a production plant that we really allowed us to have this kind of growth here in the past 15 years. And at the same time, we also have production growing significantly. As we assess the same period of 2005, we had 65,000 tons, and in 2020, we reached 155,000 tons. So there was a growth of 139%. And here we're contemplating the Gaia 2 project. As we finish the cycle in 2023, we'll reach 191,000 tons, which is a growth after 2020 of 123%. So we would reach the end of the cycle with approximately 191,000 tons. And Irani really stands out, especially with the services in the food sector. This is something that is essential to us. In the first semester, this sector represented 45.3% in the first semester of 2021 for the overall market. With Irani, the food sector represented 72.4%. And I want to highlight here the food sector that's really splitting this per segment. The main segment that's here is the segment of the slaughter and of beef and subproducts of meat, and this represents 31.7%. And this 31% is basically concentrated in the segment of poultry and pork when it comes to Irani. So these are two segments that are extremely important for us, especially in the southern region of the country where we have a production plant in Santa Catarina. This is actually being expanded. So we have this cluster here of the butcheries and the overall animal protein units. That's going to help fill out our capacity. So poultry and swine or pork has been really requiring a lot of investments. So many companies are expanding the production lines to increase slaughtering. Many projects are also working with the greenfield factories. One big example is the factory of Firmeza. It's going to have the capacity to slaughter 15,000 pigs per day. One of the biggest in South America, actually. Pamplona as well has been investing as well with their new production plant. So two segments that really have been following an interesting pace with the growth of poultry and growth of 4% as a forecast for 2021. And we look at the exports accumulated from January to August. You can see this is a segment that's been growing 6%. When you perform the same analysis in the pork segment, it's growing 4.2% this year. And in the accumulated results from January to August, in the exports, it's growing about 17.1%. So despite all of this scenario when it comes to difficulties with ocean transportation, containers, and even China's efforts to stimulate internal market consumption and reducing prices and consuming their inventories and stocks, despite all of this, these are segments that really have been. Anyways, as we get back to the Brazilian market, we have a forecast of a growth of 7.3%. 2020, we ended with 3,815,000 tons, and in 2021, the forecast is to have a closing of 4 million tons. I want to remind you that the forecast for September to October is a scenario that's quite moderate by Empapel. Then, as we move along, the worldwide market for packages is forecasting a growth of 2.2% per year until 2035. What calls our attention is the low rate of growth in North America. So you can see the U.S., Canada, Mexico having growth that's below 1.5%. And Europe is also the same thing with low growth. And China's pretty much stagnated with growth that's lower than 0.5%. With a focus on China here, as you can see, the biggest production of corrugated cardboard with 30% of the overall production. Other countries also in Asia and even Latin America, where you have Brazil, have a growth above 2.5%. So when we talk about the e-commerce market, Sergio had already presented some data, but I want to highlight this once again. The market in Brazil has a growth on average of 2018 to 2024 of 22%. In 2021, there's growth estimated at about 30%. So this already represents 176 billion reais, so 11.9% share in retail, and a forecast for growth in the next years. Despite the slowdown that we've noticed in the next years, there's still significant growth, reaching 2024 with 311 billion in revenue, representing 18% share in retail. When we look at the e-commerce scenario here in 2021, 76% of the revenue is concentrated in department stores. An important highlight to the revenue from the first semester of 2021 compared to the first semester of 2020, with a growth of 31% in revenue and 56% of the orders performed through mobile phones. So the market has a huge potential for growth, really, in Brazil. And then still, with e-commerce, we've been working strongly with cases really aligned on customer focus for companies in the e-commerce world. We identified opportunities for improvements. Our main objective is to reduce the use of plastic and other non-sustainable materials, using packaging, and reduce the amount of raw materials, increasing physical resistance. And in this sense, I think 2021 has been a very positive year, an interesting year for us. We were able to become closer to the main companies in the sector. The 4 largest companies, actually 2 already have our supplies, and 2 more we're developing some pilot projects for. We have 3% of our production already of boxes concentrated in this segment of e-commerce. And we also have the objective of doubling this share in 2022. So this means that in 2022, we're going to be having approximately 7,200 tons sold for boxes in the e-commerce sector. And I am sure that we're going to get there because the work we've been working on developing is very consistent and stable. In the countries, there's been growth in the demand for corrugated cardboard in the first semester of 2021. If you see this vision here, the important highlight is in India and Italy, with growth also about 26.3%, Italy with 19.18%. Significant growth in the first semester of 2021. Special highlight here in China as well, with growth of 13.1%. Is a real giant in this segment. And I think another relevant point is that when we take a look at India, Mexico, and Brazil, there is a possibility of growth due to the production per capita that's very low. So we've already worked with India with 4, Mexico with 12 square meters per inhabitant, Brazil has 18. So you have a huge percentage of growth opportunities. And here Brazil is classified as the 7th position. But when we take a look at the data for 2021 consolidated, Brazil is ahead of Italy and positioned actually in 6th position in the worldwide ranking for corrugated cardboard production. So now when we talk about Guide 2, I want to give you an update here on the expansion of the Embalagem Santa Catarina. Let's move on here to the next slide, please. So here you can see the expansion of the production area. As everyone knows, we continue to operate our factory normally, despite the project underway, which is up to date, and we have been operating with the factory's full productive capacity, and we're still working on the project, and we have the objective of automating and optimizing all of our processes, expanding our competitive advantages, and having more operational excellence, and an increase in the capacity of production. And we'll have an increment in the volume of 53%. for boxes and slates, and we should have also in the consolidated vision, we'll also have growth of about 23%. So the investments are estimated about 150 million, and the term that's planned for the schedule is 34 months. We also have a quick video to show you what the current situation is in this project, and a presentation by Patricky, our project manager there. Good morning, everyone. Today is September 21, 2021, and I'm in front of this huge building, and this is a real iconic building here for the Gaia 2 project with the expansion of Embalagem Santa Catarina. I'm Patrick, and I'm the manager for this project. So, this is just an update on how our construction work is taking place, and you can see things are really going full swing. So still about the Gaia platform and the second cycle, that's as you mentioned, we have Gaia 8. This is a very important second cycle in one of our production plants in Indaiatuba. They'll be receiving 2 important investments. These 2 investments have been approved already by the board, and they're going to start the deployment in the next months. The first one is Gaia 8, the next printer at the Indaiatuba unit, an investment of 15 million. And this is a process to switch equipment. This is an older equipment from 1995. It's a machine that has significant technology now, many resources, and quality of prints. It's very interesting, and this will add on as well an additional volume in the production line for boxes. And the second project is Gaia 9, which is all about the automation of the intermediate inventory, a project of 29.8 million reais. We're very happy to have the approval of this project. It was a big dream we had to automate the injection production plant in Indaiatuba. It'll be a production plant that's really going to be one of the most modern in Brazil. The first photo shows you the exit of this equipment, where you can see this illustrative image with all of the rollets, and you can see the transfer cars as well. So we have the corrugator in the first image, and then the transfer cars in the bottom. You can see the intermediate inventory with 2 levels. And you have 2 levels, so this is very important, so you can have an intermediate inventory that's enough to service these printers. So you have approximately 14 hours of products for intermediate products. And then on the top image, you can see the pre-fiber products, the pre-feeders. All the machines will have this kind of equipment. This basically feeds the machines automatically without human interference. So it's a project that brings an increase in productivity at the unit, but it also eliminates risks with posture of the employees. So this is currently done manually, but it's going to avoid this in the future. And this also brings in this flow of forklifts, reducing accidents, mitigating scarcity of labor in the region of Indaiatuba. So it's a project that really will bring in major benefits for the Indaiatuba production unit. So we're really happy with the approval of these 2 projects. Now, that's pretty much it, what I had to share with you today. I'm sorry once again for the dogs barking here at my home office. But anyways, I will now like to thank you for this time, and I'll pass on the word to Fabiano so that he can conduct the rest of our presentation.